Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, most of Gauteng's rail stations were vandalized during the hard lockdown, and that was last year. Now, railway stations that were left unguarded during the lockdown were stripped of everything of value, including cables, handrails, windows, and sometimes even doors. In some instances, stations like in Kliptown or in Johannesburg were left so damaged that it will take a while before commuter services there can actually resume. Just last year, you remember, President Cyril Ramaphosa saying that the sabotage, theft and vandalism of rail infrastructure was the worst form of economic crime. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula is conducting an oversight visit to some of the affected stations. He joins us now live from the Mayfair station in Gauteng. And Minister, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks for taking time out of your inspection to chat to us. So we told that in some instances, some PRASA officials have said up to 80% of the stations have actually been vandalized since the pandemic. But let's be frank, this problem predates the pandemic, doesn't it?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us this morning. It does predate the pandemic, but it grew exponentially in a bigger way during the pandemic, particularly the shutdown. As you can see, we are at Mayfair. This station was operational. Cables were being stolen, but it has been brought down totally to the ground. So when we talk about the extent of vandalism that happened, we need to understand. And as we presented, PRASA presented its corporate plan before Parliament, and as we presented our budget vote this last Friday, some of the corridors that must be revived and are part of the plan to be up and running, that include Mayfair and other corridors in and around the Gauteng, within a very short space of time. So we're looking at and basically bringing to you to see the extent of the vandalism that occurred here. It meant there was no security and all of that. So the place itself was badly run. So I'm with the CEO here, Mr. ZK Zolani Matthews, who's brand new, and together with the chair, Mr. Leonard Ramatlakane. We have been together in the trenches, theorizing in the boardrooms about what must happen. Now it's time to get to action.
Yeah, and Minister, how much of PRASA's issues, including the infrastructural matters, are linked to the lack of leadership within PRASA itself? You mentioned Zolani Matthews, who's only just recently been appointed CEO. There were 6 acting CEOs since Lucky Montana left back in 2015. That inevitably will lead to all kinds of instability.
Yes, the account of the part of the challenges we've got here is that this place has been on autopilot. We have intervened with the administrator, and immediately when we did that, the pandemic came. We had to shut down the operations because the trains were going to become a massive spreader of the virus. And whilst that was happening, the vandalism went on and on and on, and even to the bigger scale. So it couldn't have happened, among others, if we had visionary leadership that understood that we've got to get security in place. And as the place shut down, it must be guarded. At least the little that was remaining should have been guarded, but it was also brought down. And I don't want to blame the past. It is with us now. We've got the board, we've got the CEO, we've got to tighten the grips on the management. The holiday to talk about pettiness and not focused on the job is over. And I'm going to have serious go at people who seek to take us back as a minister, and call it interference. Up until this place is up and running, Fikile Mbalula will be up and down here like Casey and Jojo. And it's going to happen. Bayatanda bengatandi. This place will be up and operational. And if people are not ready to get this going, let them ship out. I've presented together with them a corporate plan to Parliament with fixed time frames. I've presented the costing in terms of the budget. how much this. We will detail that later on. Today, give a detailed plan in terms of the costing. How much is this vandalism? So vandalism happened at PRASA. Trains are not running at full steam. It's not theory, it's a reality. So I've got no time to waste time. So we are here today to, among others, unveil not a human being, but a plan of pushing back this vandalism and getting trains fully operational in the main corridors in and around Gauteng and throughout the country.
Yeah, and Minister, of course, this is a situation that should be addressed with the utmost urgency, as in yesterday, so to speak. But let me get a sense of your own timelines. When are you planning from your own plans to have all these issues sorted by?
We've got an overall PRASA modernization program that has to be implemented. There is money for that. All what needs to happen is that the management, supported by the board, has got to put capacity in place to ensure that we spend that money, rightfully so. Secondly, to recover the corridors, it should be a daily work. Each and every corridor, corridor by corridor, recover it, deploy security. Recover, deploy security. So it's a work that Zolani and his team, in terms of management, have been looking at, and they've been able to give us a concrete time frames. I've given in the budget as to what time is it going to take, but later today we will dwell into that and give you the exact time frames, including the costing. It will not be me, it will be the PRASA management and the board. My vision in terms of what needs to happen is that the lines must get back and the trains must get going.
All right, we'll be watching that quite closely. It's a bit interesting that you can't share the time frames with us now, but I guess we'll have to wait until that briefing actually takes place. Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula joining us there during his inspection of vandalized train stations across Gauteng. He's specifically at the Mayfair station, speaking to us there via our video link with some of our camera crew on the ground. And it really is troubling, considering the increased reliance on things like rail in a country like ours. We've seen many instances where the taxi industry, for instance, could be helped with the burden that they have of transporting the thousands of people that need to get to work every day. But with our kind of rail, that's simply not an option. They can't have that as an alternative.
Yeah. And how long have we been discussing the situation when it comes to our trains here in Gauteng, but around the country as well, especially in the Western Cape?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see that as it unfolds. I mean, we certainly got a sense from the minister there that there's going to be some kind of talk from the board's chair, as well as the new CEO of PRASA, that's Ayanda Nyathi, who's just recently been appointed after 6 acting CEOs since Montana left. That should just give you an idea of the kind of instability we're working with at PRASA.